Hello, fellow scholars and purveyors of morbid curiosities alike. I'm Dr. Caleb, joined by the beekeeper, Dr. Zach,
Hello.
and this is SCPod. Zach, how are you today?
Oh, doing all right. A lot better since we fixed our apparent security breach.
Yeah, it was so weird. The Foundation couldn't find any trace of this person, and at this point, I'm just thinking that it was a figment of our imagination.
Fucking might be. I don't know.
But regardless, we moved the Wendigo skull out of our office, and if that causes a containment breach, then so be it. They should not give us free access to the facility.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing considering we don't even have access cards and the doors just kind of open.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm scanned constantly, but I just have to assume that everybody does. So, um, anyway, enough with the old, in with the new. Zach, what are we talking about today?
I think we're talking about one of my personal favorites here, SCP-3454.
Okay, what's the title of this SCP?
Caleb, we're gonna get into that. So without further ado,
Oh, okay,
we're
okay.
we're gonna get into it.
This is one of those SCPs.
So here we go. SCP-3454, Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Any individual leaving the land of the tall bees is to be interrogated until it can be determined whether or not they are an SCP-3454 instance. Containment of SCP-3454 individuals is to be enacted immediately. The lead researcher of Site Bees is to be tasked with the following: 1. Determining what is to be done with individuals who are SCP-3454, and 2. Ascertaining the best way to introduce the entire population of Earth to the land of tall bees, one person at a time, with Foundation personnel given priority. Research is ongoing. Dr. Caleb,
What the fuck did I just stumble into?
Dr. Caleb, if you just want to read this piece of paper that I'm sliding towards you, read it out loud, clearly, into this microphone.
Okay, okay. First, the first thing I wanted to acknowledge here is there's just a photo of a Target, like the superstore.
Pay no mind to that. That's not important now.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and description. SCP-3454 is a designation for individuals who don't agree that the bees are tall. The land of tall bees is accessible via a temporal spatial tear, located inside an abandoned Target Canada store in Niagara Falls, Ontario. The bees are very tall.
The bees are tall.
The portal to the land of tall bees was discovered in 2016 by an individual who understood the bees and their tallness. The portal was brought to the Foundation's attention after numerous SCP-3454 instances contacted the police, outing themselves as anomalies. After securing the location, Foundation personnel were introduced to the land of tall bees, and the location began operation as Site Bees. It is currently unknown why some individuals are SCP-3454. Unfortunately, the only way to determine whether or not an individual is SCP-3454 is to send them through the portal. This often upsets the bees. You do not want tall, upset bees. Indication of being SCP-3454 include lack of desire to discuss the bees, disinterest in the bees, not stating the bees are tall without being prompted, or interfering in Foundation operation at Site Bees.
There is an addendum attached to this document, Addendum 3454-01, for the testing logs. Please note that testing began prior to all Site B staff being introduced to the land of tall bees. Some tonal inconsistencies persist. Date: May 8th, 2017. Test number 1, and the personnel involved were D-0901, age 35, and he was convicted of multiple automobile thefts. The methodologies of the test included initial record of human interaction with the land of tall bees. Test results. Subject directed to extend right arm through the portal to the land of tall bees. Subject does so without adverse effects. Dr. Page, former lead researcher, commences with second test. Subject is tethered and given a camera before being sent through the portal to the land of tall bees. Exploration lasts 3 minutes and subject returns unarmed. Or unharmed, I should say. There is a note saying that subject was noted to exclaim, "Dude, it's full of tall bees!" upon exiting.
Date: June 8th, 2017. Test number 5. Personnel involved: D-0901, D-9310, Agent Cook, Agent Block, Dr. Wessig, Dr. Adams, Junior Researcher Mazen. Methodology: find out just how tall the bees are. Test results: subjects enter the portal to the land of tall bees with measuring tapes. Tapes are not long enough to measure the bees. Average bee height confirmed as being greater than 3.6 meters. Notes: this test was not authorized. I suspect SCP-3454 is having an adverse effect on my team. I'm calling a moratorium on testing until we get an info hazard response team down here. From Dr. Page, former lead researcher for SCP-3454.
Date: July 8, 2017. Test number 11. Personnel involved: D-0901, D-9310, Agent Cook, Agent Block, Dr. Adams, Junior Researcher Mazen, Dr. Sawyer, Junior Researcher Kaczynski, Junior Researcher White, D-10008, Dr. Patel, Agent Weathersby, Agent Conte, Agent Richter, Agent Kimmel, Junior Researcher Cheturi, Dr. Zhang, Dr. Reeves, Agent Jones-Reeves, Agent Cartham, Junior Researcher Godell, D-8624, SCP-3454-145, and a clawhammer. Methodology: convince SCP-3454-145 that their bees are tall. Again. Test results: SCP-3454-145 became unresponsive after 20 minutes of questioning. Same result as with SCP-3454-144. Notes: why are all the SCP-3454 so difficult? Said Dr. Adams, lead researcher at Site Bees. So, Dr. Caleb, I have a very important question for you.
Yes, Dr. Zach.
Are the bees tall? Pay no attention to my cohorts.
The bees are very tall, Dr. Zach.
The bees are very tall, and I don't understand why these 3454 entities are so stubborn about the bees not being tall when they clearly are.
The bees are very tall.
The bees are very tall, and people need to understand. On a side note...
Alright, but why a target?
I don't know, and I really want to point out that 3.6 meters for a bee is really tall, and I want to know how many joints they have on those legs, because 3.6 meters, it's about, like, 12 feet.
Yeah.
I
don't like this.
Can they fly?
Those bees are very tall.
And, like, we're only talking about the length of the bees here. So, I mean, is the body of the bee itself proportional, or is it the same size with just really, really long legs?
True.
So you just have like these like exoskeleton noodles just kind of flying around.
What were you asking about the bees? If they could fly?
Yeah, and like, 'cause, like they're clearly tall. This much is true. But how does the flight work?
Well, Zach. Narration by Jerry Seinfeld. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible.
That's not entirely true, but we'll go with it because it's funny.
The second you were like, "Can they fly?" I was like, "Oh, I became a sleeper agent not just for the tall bees, but for the bee movie."
Famously, a movie about a woman who wants to fuck a bee.
Very famously.
But that movie also misses.
And a bee that also really likes jazz.
Yeah, but also my other problem with that movie is that the bees aren't tall.
The bees aren't tall. They do have tall personalities.
They do have tall personalities, but they are not physically tall as they should be. So does that mean like?
No, all bees are tall.
Right, but I mean, saying is that like, does that technically make the movie an entity or an instance of 3454?
No. It's just denier propaganda.
Right, so I mean, it's clearly 3454 propaganda material.
Exactly. But it's comedic because in no realm of belief can you believe that the bees are not tall.
Right, not once you know the truth.
Exactly, and the movie is funny for a reason. It's because like who could ever like with bees as tall as they are,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see the little bees and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The bees are tall.
Right, which is the only reason why I have a hard time watching that movie.
Well, that and a woman wanting to fuck a bee.
And the woman wants to fuck a bee is a distant second.
Yeah.
Uh,
There are more pressing matters. I will agree, but that's not to erase.
Yeah, we just want to make it clear that he
social faux pas.
Right. We just want to make her faux pas, a faux pas, faux pas. I'm sorry, that was just very funny to me. No, it's just like yeah. Again, it's like this is just tall B erasure, and so kind of getting away from tall B's for a second. What do you think another? What do you think another insect that you think is getting the tall erasure? Like, what is also another insect that is secretly the tallest?
Praying mantises give off tall king energy.
I don't know. I was thinking Heracles beetles.
Okay, yeah. I think we're on a similar wavelength here.
Like, if you've actually like felt like you walked into something but you couldn't figure out what, like it was like an invisible wall in the game, it's because you were simply walking into the actual proportions of a Heracles beetle.
Oh my god!
Abiding.
You just awoke something in me.
Yeah, it's the fact that it doesn't really conform to Euclidean geometry. And so every time you think you trip onto nothing, you're actually tripping on the enormous leg of a Hercules beetle.
When I was little, I used to have reoccurring nightmares of being picked up by a giant Hercules beetle.
Yeah,
and being flung around.
It's because your heart knew, Caleb. It's because your heart knew the truth, even if you didn't.
I'm not even trying to stick to the bit here. That is a legit reoccurring nightmare.
Caleb, I need to be honest with you. Neither am I. This is true. I am not giving a bit. Why are you laughing? This is serious.
I'm just unpacking trauma right now.
What else? Tell me your beetle-related trauma, Dr. Caleb.
I'm just, it's something I didn't think about until just now when you talked about tall bees and tall beetles.
Let it all out, man. This is a safe place. It's just you, me, and the entirety of the internet.
What about stick bugs?
No, they are actually that size.
Are we sure? Like, Are we sure that trees aren't just stick bugs?
Yes. We are very.
Oh,
We are.
okay.
This has been tested.
Okay, okay. Well, um, yeah, that's do you ever watch Eight-Legged Freaks?
I actually avoided that entire genre of like spider horror. Um, it just didn't really appeal to me that much. Uh,
Interesting. Yeah, Eight-Legged Freaks was like kind of a comedy take on it. It's not like Arachnophobia where it was like supposed to be scary.
yeah,
But I grew up with that movie too, so I might just be misremembering it.
yeah. Like, so I'm not as scared of spiders in media, but I don't like spiders in real life. Because like whenever I do like a run of Resident Evil for like the remake, um, the spiders in there have never bothered me, even when I was younger. Um, so yeah, I've never had arachnophobia for media. I just don't like them in real life.
I don't like spiders in real life either. I'm not like scared of them. I would be totally okay to like pick one up and like let it outside or something like that. Um, but I just don't like them being in my space. I don't
Doctor
like. I barely let my cat in my space.
Doctor Caleb, I have a very important question to follow up that statement of yours.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you own a tarantula?
How the fuck did I own a tarantula?
Yes.
Um, it was in a terrarium.
Uh,
Um, and he was fine. Like he's somebody I invited into my house.
right, but it is also an enormous spider.
Yeah, I mean, but like I don't know. There's something about having like a pet. Like I can exert dominance over my cat because
Right,
at the end of the day, he needs me to live.
right, right.
The spider needed me to live as well. I fed him. I gave him a little sponge full of water. He had an artificial sun, and he didn't pose a threat to me because he was chilling.
Okay, so it's a control thing then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When a spider just like is in here and like acts like he pays rent,
Uh-huh.
and especially if they're in the bathroom. The bathroom, everybody knows, Zombieland even did it. The bathroom is the place where you are the most susceptible.
Hmm.
And if there is a spider in the shower, near the toilet, near the sink while I'm shaving,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, like you're encroaching on my space.
Yeah. I have another thing because like when you started your that sentence off with when a spider, all I could think of was the song that starts when a man loves a woman. And I thought you were gonna go in that direction. And I was just like, I can't lie. I can't lie. Once you have that expectation, everything's going to be a little bit of a letdown.
All right, following that same train of
Yeah,
thought, Dr.
yeah.
Zach, Quaylog, would you?
Uh, I would say 50%, and I will not tell you which,
And I will not elaborate further.
and I will accept no questions. It's a real mermaid situation. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. That's a good point. What is the scariest centaur you can think of? Like what is the scariest half animal, half human hybrid that you can think of?
Mantar,
Mantar?
Mantar.
Is it just a human?
No, it's a Mantar. Upper body of a man, lower body of a man. Mantar.
It's the upper body of a man and the lower body is an upper body of a man.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's actually just two lower bodies. It's like Silent Hill. Because Caleb, I also take issue with how you phrased that. Like the upper body of a man and the lower body of an animal or beast, and like what are men but beasts and animals?
True. You know what aren't beasts and animals? The tall bees.
No, tall beasts are tall beasts, and there's about 12 feet of them sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Beatars.
On average.
Yeah, tar bees. Beatars.
I'm trying to think of what would be like maybe like a orca tar.
What?
Like half orca, half man.
Well, that's just silly.
Looks like one of those fucking fossil Pokemon
Yeah,
that are
it's
like
like that. It's that
just
one.
done so
Yeah,
badly.
what was that? What generation was that? Was that
That was Gen
Was that
8.
Sword and Shield?
It was, yeah, it was Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of affection for that generation. Um, but their fossil Pokemon suck.
Yeah, they do.
Like that is just an upside down fish head. I'm sorry.
That is just a small fish put on a big fish body.
Right? This is an abomination before the eyes of the Lord.
All right, what is scarier? What is scarier? A centaur
Uh,
or centaur adjacent thing, or an animal, like a full animal that walks and talks like a human?
um,
Like I'm talking like, I mean, lizard people is one thing, but like I used to have this innate fear of cats that would stand on their hind legs and like walk and talk like humans, like wear like fucking cowboy uniforms and shit like that. Maybe I'm just trauma dumping a lot on this
you
episode,
kind of are, but that's fine.
but this is like a legit fear I had.
Well, let me just psychoanalyze you a little bit here between you, me, and everyone on the internet, Caleb. Maybe you fear the anthropomorphization of animals because then you would have to confront that you don't treat them with the dignity that they deserve.
What else is there to say about tall bees?
Uh, if that sentence makes it into the final cut, I will be amazed. Um, I think the only real place to stop Dr. Caleb is that the bees are tall, and if you don't agree that,
The bees are
and
very
if you
tall.
don't, and if you don't, if you deny that the tall bees are tall, well, SCP-3454 entity, we'll find you, and we have a claw hammer to share.
You know, this is a real SCP-55 instance on our hand.
What?
I'm sorry, were we talking about dinosaurs?
I was talking about how we had one claw hammer to share because of budget reasons.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The
it's not great.
classic, classic
I
case.
think he left it back in Siberia.
Subscribe to our Patreon, and we might be able to afford a second claw hammer.
We do not have a Patreon. I regret to say.
We do not have a
Mom
Patreon,
said no.
is what my higher ups are telling me to say.
Mom said no.
Zach, where can they find you?
They can find me over on my writing blog of Roll for Writing, which you can find at www.makeawritingcheck.blogspot.com, or over on YouTube for Roll for Writing Presents. They can also find my book over on anywhere where you buy ebooks, Tales from Port Aster.
Awesome, awesome. And try as you might, you will not find any tall bee or anti-tall bee propaganda. Since it's such a racy topic, Zach has not covered it yet.
What else is there to say? I think this episode will be taken as the de facto source of all information for the tall bees. It tells you one thing, that there are bees and that
True.
it's tall. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Calica1738 or on Twitch at Calica Plays, which is pretty dormant, but you can also follow the podcast on Twitter at SCPod_cast. You can follow us on Instagram at SCPod.cast. We're available on Spotify and YouTube. And trying to reach out and do some other content creation things regarding the podcast. So keep an eye out for that. Also, please remember to rate, subscribe, comment, tell us what we did wrong. Tell us, out yourself as a tall bee denier in the comments below. Any of that stuff, it really does help propel us to other people that might be looking for a reason to believe in the tall bees. And at the end of the day, it's absolutely free to do. And we joked about not, having a Patreon earlier, but we don't do that. And this is one way that is a great way, free, and really helps us out a lot. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, Zach,
Mm-hmm.
what are we doing next week?
Next week we are talking about dragon snails.
Dragon snails. Okay, that one's gonna be an interesting time.
Mm.
In the meantime, please go check out our other platforms. And Zach,
Mm.
did you know that bees dance to communicate?
Yeah, I did. They also dance to communicate indeterminate objects, or possibly a mimetic effect of some kind.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.